June the 6th, 2022. Guys, you're looking at current images, and this is the Atlantic satellite view. It includes the Caribbean and a good bit of the Gulf of Mexico. You see at the top center, that is now the remnants of Tropical Storm Alex. Came through Florida, 45, 50 miles an hour, but Bermuda, which it has just passed, is right there, the little white dot. Came through there as a 65-mile-per-hour storm. I haven't had any reports out of there. Maybe if some of you guys are in that area, you know some folks, come in the comment section, let us know if they still got power, things like that. Now, notice in the Gulf of Mexico here how you got these deep blue colors. The storm came through, all the wind shears coming from the left to the right in this image in the Gulf itself. And that's blowing this Saharan dust layer back, keeping it at bay. That's about to change, and this is one of the most dense Saharan cloud layers that I've seen. If you look at this section here, this is kind of the lead wave right there. And it's getting dark now on the African coast, but you can see it in the daylight as we go through. But that's going to move, and depending on how this, again, wind shear is what they call it with the hurricanes, but this, again, west to east movement may help some. But again, look how thick this is, and I'm going to play it forward and watch it coming off the coast of Africa. Now, you can see that it's very thick from the areas here all the way back. And guys, over Africa and the Middle East, they've had sandstorm after sandstorm. It's really affecting hospitalizations. Can't get enough sunlight for the plants. Everything's drying up. Crops are failing. And people are suffering from this. But this is a message for Europe. They're thinking that this storm, this dust storm, is going to move into Europe. And so what's going to happen, you've already seen one minor blast of it, but this could become very serious for people there because you're in the northern hemisphere, and there's crops that have been planted, things like that. But respiratory problems can be a major issue here. Again, look how thick this is. We've seen it before. And I want to take a look at the models just to show where this is going to travel. Now, you're looking at the model the first time today, just as I am, but when I saw the satellite images, I wanted to take a look at it, and it's pretty much what I thought. Look how dense this stuff is. The darker browns, of course, is where it's thicker, and this goes from today up through, there's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the 9th. And it's in the Gulf of Mexico here. You've got the Bahamas are involved. Cuba's heavily involved. The Yucatan Peninsula. And large portions of the South American northern section. And guys, this has happened for millions of years. And it's a way that fertilizer and nutrients have been passed from the African sand layer over through this part of the country. Again, we have weakened shields, and I've said this for the last 2 years, and what that does is allow extra radiation in from space and from the sun, and it bakes the surface of the planet. We've been lucky this year in some parts of the U.S. because it has not been as hot as it has been early in the summer for the last few years, so we're getting kind of a break on it. But all of you remember talking about your yards being extremely dry, your garden drying up and things like that, and feeling that sunburn within 10 minutes, or sometimes faster than that. It's just because the shields are thinner. When the sun is weak, the shields are weak, because the dynamo of the sun is what generates the energy that brings our shields to life and makes them fuller and stronger and reach out further into space. So when it's weak, that those shields are not as strong. But look at that. And again, I want to mention this. I can't show it on this map because I don't have the map. But you guys in Europe, check for a large section of this moving north on you in the next few days. Let's just take a closer look at the Caribbean model. Again, Saharan air layer at the same time period, today through Thursday, June 9th at 11 p.m. A little better view here. Notice the Windward Islands coming into the Caribbean here. are completely saturated. The northern parts here of South America, Cuba, Port-au-Prince, all of these islands up into, again, the Bahamas. And so, again, it only goes to the night, so we're going to have to keep an eye on it. But look what is behind this first push. Here you see just a little bit of a break. And notice again that we talked about this tropical storm, Alex, and how it delayed the very tip of this coming in. Watch it pulling right there. See that? That's a good thing about it. Wasn't that strong? Of course, South Florida, you had a lot of flooded roads and things like that. But guys, this is going to get rough before it gets better, because we're just now getting into this part of the season. And what's going to happen is when we get into hurricane season, this could get much worse. One thing is, notice that as the storm pulled out, it pulled that direction, the tropical storm, because of the wind shear patterns moving this way. Now, when the hurricanes get stronger coming out of the Atlantic and the Caribbean, a lot of times the wind shear dies down, and that is what allows them to get into the Cat 2 and Cat 3 categories, or stronger. So if we get one of these ahead of one of those storms, then we're going to be in trouble if the wind shear is dying down. Also, the positive side of it is this much sand will dampen down any moisture that's related to a tropical development. It just absorbs it. So you have a battle, and we've seen it for the last few years, of the storms and the sand. Right now, it looks like the sand would take a lot out of anything forming, but it is early in the season. One other thing I want to look at. You're looking at what's called earth.nullschool.net, and it's a link on our website, as well as the last 3 or 4 images you saw here, the Atlantic satellite views, the Fox information on the Saharan dust layer, and this is under null wind. And what I've got, you can, again, let me just show you, you can click this off. If you click on Earth, go to our website, click on null wind, and then you can pick out what you want to look at, the air, the ocean, the chemicals, the particulates here, and I've got it at parts per million 10. And that's what you're seeing here, and this will give you guys over in Africa and Europe a little better idea. Now, here's what we're dealing with. Here's your sand. It's a little thinner here because some was pushed out in front of the storm. These red spots here, guys, a lot of times that can be man-made. But let's look at Africa and look how much thicker it is. And notice, as we pull over into the Middle East and looking at Europe, we're already starting to see some of this drift into the areas. Some of this is heavily populated areas, but what they're predicting is a shift here, and the large parts of Europe being affected. Check that out. Pull this up. You can see your land masses. Here's Italy, right there. Here's your islands. Egypt's here. Here's the Middle East. Again, a lot of this is, again, man-made pollution. What we're dealing with out here in the Atlantic is Saharan dust. And guys, when you get that many particles into your lungs, it's not going to be good, because your lungs have moisture in them, and that's going to really absorb that sand. So be careful with it. If you ever wore a mask, it would be the time to get one. You don't have to get an expensive one, but try to get one with a respirator. If you're working outside, some good protective glasses may keep it out of your eyes. Think about things like that as you're working. But you're going to notice that the sunset, which is happening here now in central Mississippi, and it's beautiful. It's not quite sunset yet, but it's just been a clear blue day, very fine. That's going to change, and we'll have that yellow tint. So think about how this is. If this continues over the summer, you don't want it to build up time and time again after that. But let me show you something on the website. Now, this is bpearthwatch.com. Many of you seen it. There's been, let's see, 3.32 million visits. And our videos are here. You've got solar panels, the Electropure water filtration system, and survival food. These are key ingredients to making it through the hell that's coming on this planet. Because if you think about it, when it says the devil is raging back and forth because he knows he has but a short time, because he knows that our Father's returning, Look at the demon activity going on now. The sacrifice to bring about gun laws. When we all know where that's coming from, don't have to talk about it very much. And usually the government is supposed to be here to try to take care of its people at least, but all of that's been thrown away. All of it. It's not about that anymore. The devil knows he has but a short time. Look that up in the Bible. And he's raging back and forth. Look at the demonic activity. Watch it come to TV with some of the new trials. But let me say this. We were looking at the hurricanes here. That was the satellite views of the Atlantic. Then we went to Fox Hurricane. They had the Saharan dust layer. And let's see, no wind right there. That was the one. We were looking at the particulates and the different things. And you can go there and look at for SO4, things like that. It's very interesting, very good map. Let me say this. I've had questions about the new CD. If you come down, you'll see the Guitar Stratosphere. That was our first album, our CD, but click there. And that will bring you here, earthwatchmusic.com or earthwatchstudios.com, link here. Here's our first CD, the Stratosphere. Many of you have copies of it. A lot of you have downloaded it. But we're starting the new CD here. It's called Aurora. We have 2 songs up. There's not a physical CD yet. It won't be until we have 10 songs ready. But a few years back, I was listening to one of the major country music artists on a radio show. I think it was Blake Shelton back then, a few years ago. And he was talking about the pressure of making a complete album or complete CD for release is that you get a few good songs and then you try to rush in to fill that up. And he said what he was going to do back then was start releasing singles. And when there was enough there, they would put it into a downloadable CD or a physical CD. And I understand that because I've been around music for many, many years, guys. And that pressure is not something that you want to have on you when you're trying to create. But anyway, if you'll scroll down, this is Aurora, the new CD downloads. There's 2 songs there. We should have 1 or 2 per day coming up, and then we'll offer the full download, but it's the same price, $14.99 for the 10 songs or $1.49 each, either way you want to do it. Once that's complete, and depending on how our economy's going, which we need to pay very close attention to, will we go into a physical CD. But I have a lot of artists that I'm big fans of that I've downloaded their digital copies or digital downloads and then burnt my own CDs. And once you do that, you make one for your car, one for your home, whatever. And that's pretty cool. But that's what we're going to do, and I've got a lot of them in the rack. I just got to fine-tune them and check the mix and make sure things are as close to perfect as I can get. No one's going to achieve that, we always hear mistakes. But a lot of these are basically raw cuts as far as the lead guitar in there, and so just bear with that. But they're one of a kind. Go there, and I appreciate it very much. The new song is Sunday. You may have heard it on the YouTube channel. Again, when you compress these for YouTube, it's compressed into what's called an MP3 format. But if you come here and download, you get the non-compressed version called a WAV file, W-A-V, and the dynamics and everything is much better. You can hear the difference. And so check it out, guys. We appreciate it. It's a heads up. Be safe.